Welcome back to Facevu. This week on Facevu, I'm going to be interviewing Storm Saulter. He's the writer and director of the movie Sprinter. And let me tell you this, if you haven't seen that movie yet, it's amazing. Go check it out. The movie is amazing. So anyway, we're going to be interviewing the writer and director of that movie. His name is Storm Saulter, one of our very own, Jamaican, born and raised. So, let's get right into it. But before we do so,
Are you sure you want to do this?
I'm going to America to help our family.
Set. It's Akeem Sharp who's now in front. It's Akeem Sharp who's the win. They're calling this young man the Rats the Rugged.
Akeem, there's no shortcut. Not in track and field, not in life.
Rasta rocket, it's a brand. So I make some money.
You're on a dangerous path. No man can outrun the choices he makes.
man, I think I love the movie. I enjoyed it from start to finish. And I'm not even going to ask you what inspired it because I could probably assume that it's because we have a culture for track and field. But if I may, was it that inspired you?
Partially, yeah. You know, the thing is, you're always looking for stories that the world are gonna want to see. And Jamaica has been dominating. We've been the fastest people in the world officially for a long time, and unofficially probably for a very long time. And just the impact that Usain Bolt has had on the sport, and Shelley and Fraser and Veronica Campbell and there's so many of them. I'm just calling some of the most well-known ones, but it's all right?
Yeah.
And I just thought, we have to tell something in this world. Come on, So that's like obvious to me. But for me, the story is really about a family, and it's really about a family dynamic. That's what's at the heart of the story. And track and field is really a vehicle to talk about the struggles that we have to overcome, in life. Because without saying much about the movie, a lot of the thing is a young boy trying to figure out who he is, and because of being pulled in all kind of direction, he's not so focused. But as we know, if you want to be a good athlete, you have to be focused. Yeah, it's a mental game as much as a physical game. So what is happening in his real life is paralleling what's happening on the track. And that's kind of how I look. You kind of look for a world that that people are going to be into, and then you fill it up with the real emotional stuff you want to talk about.
Correct. Well, I want to touch on something real quick. There was also an element which you touch on, which is, I think it's very common in Jamaica, and it's when you have family members abroad, like parents. I too grew up in Jamaica. My parents, from I was like about 8 years old, my mother and father leave Jamaica. So we grew up through high school with parents who are foreign, and we did good because I get money every week, and we go to school and we're nice, but the parents and they abroad.
Exactly.
So a lot of us can relate to that. When I personally watch a movie, I watch a movie not just as a person who's watching the movie, but I try to reason with the director. I try to reason with the writer. I follow the storyline. And man, the selection you made with the brothers and the father, man, how do you get the two of them to look so much alike? Just so you know, them past with real family, brethren.
Yeah, no, for real.
The man them pass with real family. Tell me about the selection process of the cast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing about casting, is when you think about how it really happens, sometimes it's you just kind of luck because you pick this person and say, check out this person, and then bam, bam, bam. But those three in particular, the first person that was cast was Kadeem Wilson, who plays the older brother, Jermaine, right? The phenomenal actor. Everything him just steal every scene he's in, and everything is done. I've always thought. So I say, I really want to work with this youth. And I was familiar with him because his first cousin is Sheldon Shepherd, who was the lead actor in Better Must Come. So
Yeah.
we kind of know is a crew of creative youths. So I knew I wanted to work with Kadeem, but we realized Kadeem couldn't be the lead because he never looked like a high schooler and he's not really a runner.
Yeah.
So we knew we had to find someone who's really a runner because you can't pretend to be a track athlete. If you have bad form, everybody else, right?
That's true. That's true.
So first it was Kadeem, and then I trust Kadeem's taste, and I said, Brethren, who are some of the actors I should be paying attention to? And him said and I'm thinking, I'm saying, there's a Brethren named Dennis Titus, right, who plays the father. And he's a great theater actor, and I didn't know about him before. And he came in, he auditioned, I went and saw plays that he was in. And then I looked on the two of them and said, well, no kind of favor that the man them shape the same way. Yeah. And that was the two of them. So I knew I had him because, something about Dennis just, you could care for him and love for him. He have this very, strong father, but him have an emotional side, which is what I was trying to really show. Correct. But Dale now, the lead actor, is a real buck-up because we didn't know who the actor was going to be. We needed someone who was not underage, but could play a high schooler. Right. And look like that. And then we need someone that was an athlete. And I was actually, I told you I do art, so I was actually in Norway as a part of a art exhibition, Jamaican artists showing video photography. I was also doing a screening of my first movie there. I was staying with some friends there. One of the people is a Jamaican woman. She was on her phone on Instagram laughing after some skit. And she asked me if I don't know this brethren. And I look and it's Dale, and him is, he's an Instagram comedian, so to speak, at the time. And whatever he was doing, I thought was pretty funny, but then I also thought he had such an interesting look. And immediately I said, this man looked like Kadeem, them have a familiarity. And then I scrolled down his page, and he had a photograph where he was coming out of the blocks, right? It wasn't obvious that's what he was doing, but that was the position. So I said, something weird, something's interesting about this. And when I got back to Jamaica, we tracked him down, he came in. He didn't have any real film acting experience. He was green. But similar to your story, when I told him about the backstory of the character and the mom being away and all that, he said, boy, this is like my life story because his parents left Jamaica when he was very young, between 5 and 8. His both parents left, one went to England, one went to the US. And he grew up with his grandparents. And so he was very familiar with this separation family thing. So I just said to myself, okay, this you don't have much experience, but he have real life experience dealing with these, navigating these emotions. So he's gonna bring something to this that is real. You know what I mean? So I took that risk. We all took that risk. It was a little bit of a challenge, but he pulled it off, and I don't really think who else could have been the sprinter but him.
Great. How do you feel about the success of Sprinter? Because like I said, it's trending. People are talking about it. So funny because people are talking about it as if it's new, but it's been out for a while. But for some reason, it's buzzing now. I'm not sure if it's because of the quarantine and people get to watch it more, but it started picking up traction now, even though it's been out since last year, right?
Definitely.
How do you feel?
Personally, I feel great. I'm very grateful for the fact that it's kind of gotten to this watershed moment. And I really feel great for everyone else who's involved, like for all these actors, you know what I mean? In particular, for all of the crew and everyone who work, because it's 90% Jamaican crew. And our international crew as well, our director of photography is from Mexico, Pedro Milan, super talented, came to Jamaica, hustled it out in the middle of the hot summer. Our editor is from China. So we had a pretty broad connection, but in terms of our underground production people, over 90% Jamaican. It's the same people we work with on every crew, right? And I know for all of these folks who work at such a high level on every job that comes here, whether it's a James Bond shoot or whatever, there's a set of Jamaican crew that is great, that works on all of it. I just know for what we went through to make this happen, but then we can sit down in them house, pick up them foot and turn on big Netflix, and there it is, and there's their name in the credits. And it's big because, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of big streamers, but, Netflix really set the trend in that world and in where content consumption has been going, so the fact that we're representing on that level, it means a lot for this project, but it also just really means a lot for the industry coming from the Caribbean, I feel, you know.
I saw a clip with Joe Bogdanovich in the movie. Is he a part of it?
Yes, Joe Bogdanovich and Zachary Harding are a part of it. They have a company called Hyperion, and they're executive producers on the project as well. So big up to them, you know, for jumping in and believing in this project, you know.
So as far as the future now, because now you got our attention, and of course you did with the first movie with Shepherd, but this one now is actually, you know, people are actually watching now. What can you tell us now who are actually waiting for the next movie? What can you tell us?
We're working on a few things. Movie-wise, working on an adaptation of a novel by Marlon James. His first novel is called John Crow's Devil. He's an amazing writer, as you know. And we are also working on developing a TV series based on Sprinter. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
What genre of movie you want to specialize in? I mean, what kind of movies you think is your niche?
I like to challenge myself and do different things. So, for example, you know, my first movie, Better Must Come, was, you know, kind of a political crime drama, you know, closer to, say, a City of God type of film. Obviously, Sprinter is a sports coming of age drama. So even if I move around, I seem to be in a space of drama. But to be quite honest, I am very interested in pushing into slightly more stylized territory, like not horror, but like noir, supernatural thriller. John Crow's Devil is a supernatural thriller. There's magic and obia and, you know, all these types of things. So I want to dig into that stuff. I'm very interested in I don't like the word horror sometimes. It sounds a little cheap, but that is like a genre. But I like that kind of dark thriller thing. I think, you know, I'm not tired of, look, there's so much European monster, vampire, werewolf, all these monster, Frankenstein, we're more than familiar with. What about all the creatures that are coming from way back from Africa, from, you know, the types of creatures? Because, you know, our monsters, say, in the Caribbean, monsters, are very unique, very different. You know, if you go from Cuba, Jamaica, all the way down to Trinidad, there's a whole heap of set of monsters, from rolling calf to all type of creatures that are really amazing visually and what they mean. Because, you know, monster story is always parables. You know what I mean? So I think that's a very rich space that I know there's other filmmakers in the region that are diving into. I'm very interested in that. So for me, I always want to challenge myself. I don't want to stick in a thing. I mean, I like dark. My work always has a little comedy in it, but it's usually more on the dark comedy side. I don't know if I'm ready for full-blown comedy. I think I'm more in the dark drama space. You know?
Correct. And speaking of genre of movies, how do you make a decision as to what amount to show when it comes to a sex scene? Is it based on the characters or viewers or personal preference?
Even the sex scenes in Sprinter, I mean, we have a lot of footage. We could have made it a lot more explicit or less. You know, we could have gone many ways with it. It's a bit of a balance because, you know, if you show sex in a distasteful way, then it can feel cheap. And for me, it's about the feeling. I never want to just do it for the reason. I want to do it because it amplifies an emotion. Even if it titillates you and excites you and make you feel a little weird, and you know, you might be watching with like your parents and get a little shaky, right? Which I know has happened. But if you have felt that way, it's because I intend you to feel that way. Because, you know, and that's how we kind of make them choices. You don't want to push it where you just make it look like, oh yes, this is some nakedness for the sake of nakedness or something. I want to kind of like play to a thing. You know, there's obviously some scenes in Sprinter, one of which that mash up the place. And I want to mention it. And some people say, why? And I say, hey, it's a real thing. Because that is a real story that based on. I cannot big up Usain anymore. For such a superstar, that Bertrand is so cool and humble and fun-loving. And I'll tell you how it kind of came for him to be in the film. You know, one thing that's great about Usain is especially when he's active as an athlete, he's always training. He's the greatest, one of the greatest athletes probably ever lived, right? So he's always training, but he's also a heavily sponsored person, probably the most sponsored athlete in the world.
He's a brand, yeah.
So, so him say, well, I'm not gonna break my training and fly all over the world to come shoot your commercials. You have to come to Jamaica, come shoot the commercials, which was great. But what it also meant was it's like it created a whole next avenue in the local film industry, because all of a sudden, all of the local crew every weekend is working on big international commercials for Visa, for Puma, for Virgin, all these companies. And I was lucky enough once again to be invited onto that set by Maxine Walters, the same person who invited me onto Little X's set. And I started working on the crew as behind the scenes photographer and link with the certain people. I'm saying, all right, then I get a chance to direct some of the content, and then I move to the point where I become a go-to person that certain brands, especially Puma is a company I've worked with a bit, that say, okay, this is a go-to person we trust that and Bolt's team has worked with me enough that if me have to shut out, go shoot something with Bolt quick, I'm the person they can call that team will trust. So it took years to just get into that situation and for his team to know that I was serious. And I asked, and I don't even think they agreed to right away. I think it took a little, coming back again, and then also speaking to Puma, and Puma got on board with Sprinter, which was very important. Because not only did they sponsor our athletic gear, which was a lot, because it's only about track meets with shooting and all that stuff, but they also, brought some sponsorship to the film. And then they also helped to turn the wheels with Bolt, because this is his main sponsor now, saying they're behind it. So it took years to do it. Many people that believed in me enough to help to push the needle forward, and that's how that happened. And then once we knew that he would be involved, the conversations with investors, say, and just people outside of Jamaica, you say Usain Bolt anywhere in the world, them go big. So the fact that he believed enough to be a part of it, it lent enough strength to the thing, and that just helped to push it over the edge, I think. Sprinter is a story about family. It's a story about a young man who's trying to run as fast as he can to bring his family back together. I feel like, especially folks who are in the diaspora, it's something that you're going to feel connected to, because it's about different definitions of family, separated together, finding ways to keep it moving regardless of the circumstances. So that's what the film is really about. Watch it. I could never tell you anything here where I don't really give you the fullness. You can go to sprinterthefilm.com. All of our social media is at sprinterthefilm. And when you watch the film and you like it and you're talking about it, hashtag sprinterthefilm. Our Twitter commentary is hilarious right now. It's pretty crazy. And just make people know about it, because this is the thing. We as the local filmmakers and so on, we have made this work, right? Now the audience needs to prove that they're there. I'm not for sure the numbers. Netflix, if I can print out a sheet and say, yo, a lot of people watching this. There's a big audience for this. And it's not just Caribbean people, it's beyond. And that is what is going to put us in a position, myself and the other filmmakers, to come with the next projects and to get these platforms and to not have to fight so hard to convince them. So it's important. You want to see more stuff like this? Watch it, talk about it, spread it, share it. And yeah,